I thought a whole lot of thoughts like, I don't even get that reward. I don't even get to have a book. I mean, is life worth living? And Hi everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I'm Tanya, a doctor, lawyer, turned homeschool mom of 3 kids ages 9, 6, and 4. This year, I am embarking on a no-buy year, which is slightly different than a no-spend year. So if you want to hear more about it, check out my first video, which I'll link up above and in the description box down below. Basically, I have a desire to increase the peace and calm of my household and just to return to a more essentialist type of lifestyle. So I really want to reduce our belongings, our possessions, our entire life, like our activities, our friends, everything, to what is essential to us instead of every single thing that's possible. There are a lot of things in our house right now that we actually need that are essential to us, but there's also still a lot of things that aren't really essential to our life or necessary to our life or really in line with our values as a family. So this year, my goal is to not only minimize the clutter, which I concentrated on last year, but to also accelerate the process of having a more intentional life, a more essentialist type of lifestyle by not buying anything, so that not only do I have an outflow of things going out with donations and decluttering, etc., but I also have like a block on the influx of things. So if you want to know more about my motivations behind my no-buy year and why I did it, be sure to check out that video I mentioned before. That'll be linked up above and down below. So how have I been doing so far on my no-buy year? Initially, in January, it was a cakewalk, honestly, because I felt really motivated. I had that whole, like, this is my new life plan thing going, and I did really, really well. So much so that I actually had like 0 online purchases whatsoever. For the first time ever, my PayPal bill was $0. Big old goose egg, 0. Which made me super, super glowy and happy inside. My Amex bill and my Amazon card bill were incredibly low as well. I would say probably about 20% of what they used to be. And most of those expenses were essentials, things that we definitely needed to replace, etc. I was doing really, really good and I felt really good about it until February hit. And the first couple days of February, I had just angst about it all. I had this feeling of, wow, that's only 1 month down. I have a lot of months to go. I don't know if I can do this. And I saw an Instagram ad for something and I purchased things, you guys. I saw an Instagram ad for Darn Good Yarns a couple of times, and they were running a special on sari skirts. I mean, those are 2 of my favorite words paired together, sari and skirt. Plus, they were having a buy 5 for the price of 2 sale. I caved. It was late. I don't think my husband was home. I had no one to talk to. And I caved and I bought them. I really love maxi skirts. It's hard to find maxi skirts that fit a person of my diminutive stature. And I caved. I bought them and I almost immediately regretted it. It was very similar to my previous purchasing pattern of seeing a great deal, seeing something that was beautiful that I wanted, and not having anyone to talk to or do at the time. So it definitely fed that boredom urge. Typically, I don't really buy things that I see on Instagram. I don't know what happened to me. It's one of those little blackout purchases where you have nothing to do, you're kind of scrolling. And mind you, I've deleted all the shopping apps off my phone. So all the Amazon browsing and Etsy browsing and eBay browsing, things like that have gone by the wayside. So when this Instagram post hit me, you guys, it hit me really hard. Like they knew exactly what button to push. They caught me at just the right time of random tired scrolling. I think I made the purchase at like 11:30 in the evening. That being said, Darn Good Yarns is a company that benefits a lot of micro industry in India. So it employs a lot of lower income women who can then have a livelihood. So I'm happy that the purchase wasn't completely wasteful in the sense that I feel like I'm helping people. And I definitely will link their company down below if you have, any intentions of buying with a goal to help as well. And that is something I'm interested in actually anyway. It was interesting to learn about Darn Good Yarns because going forward in 2020 and beyond, when my no-buy year is over, when I do need to buy something like a purse or a skirt or a placemat or what have you, I would like to look into ways of buying it from companies that work to help micro industry, that work to improve the lives of people around the world, especially those who are impoverished or uneducated or have not had a lot of the benefits that I have had growing up. So to the extent that we can make our purchases count for something, I think we should. I think they are very beautiful and I am excited to wear them. Darn Good Yarns makes these silk sari skirts. They also make other things, but the neat thing about them, you guys, this one's so pretty, and here's another one. The neat thing about them is when you buy one, you actually get two skirts because they are reversible and they come in all different lengths. So like this one is purpley and pink on this side, but then you can reverse it and you have this like white-ish kind of pattern on that side. And they're just really beautiful, really well constructed. They have an adjustable tie so it'll fit anybody. And I'm really pleased with both of them. So, you know, and these are just two that I grabbed. There's 3 more because I got the 5 for 2 deal. But I'm really, really pleased with them. I think they're beautiful and high quality, and you should definitely check them out, especially if you're not doing a no-buy year. My other like impulse purchase thing that I shouldn't have bought was from a thrift store. Now, I have limited my thrift store going by a great deal, but my kids do earn money for doing chores and things like that around the house. And when they want to spend their money, I like to take them to a thrift store so they can get more for their money, in all honesty. A lot of times my son will look for electronics that he can take apart and things like that. This time he actually bought a complete CD player with like speakers for I think $11. So his whole goal was, if it doesn't work, I'll just take it apart. But in fact, it does work. So I've given him a bunch of old CDs and he's just playing them in his room. And I think it's so adorable. And I really like that idea of teaching them that, you know, your money does go further in a thrift store. And once he loses interest with it, he will tinker with it and take it apart and do a whole like STEM cut related activity with that. So I'm happy that he purchased that. And my daughters like to purchase things like cute little jewelry boxes and things like that for $1 or $2, and I would infinitely rather they spend their hard-earned money on things like that from a thrift store than on a junky plastic toy from Target that costs $15 that nobody plays with after 2 minutes. So while I was at the thrift store though, I also went through the book bin. I did not buy any books for myself because I'm on a no-buy year, including books. But I did buy Esperanza Rising because I know that I want to read this to my kids, and it was only 25 cents and I just wanted to have it. So is Esperanza Rising an essential for me? I'm going to go ahead and mark that as a yes, because I will definitely read this to them. It is a beautiful book by all reviews and accounts, and I'm just excited to read it to them. So there you have it. Those were my cheat items. There was a couple other things that we bought, obviously, that were essentials, that were surprising purchases. My son had incredibly cold toes and a little bit of like, you know, discoloration, and something happened with his toes. And so I bought hot hands and little toe warmers for him, and also a set of like really warm socks. But other than that, and a few new curriculum purchases for the following year, there hasn't been anything non-consumable that has been bought here. And even when it comes to consumables, I haven't bought any new toiletries at all. I'm actually on my very last drops of my sunscreen, which is like kind of like an emergency. So I need to go buy that. I haven't bought any new toothpaste. We're running through that. I have enough toilet paper. I haven't bought any new soaps or dishwashing liquids or anything like that. I am using what I have. As for body creams and stuff, I'm using what I have. I'm like gathering things from the nooks and crannies of cabinets, and it's actually kind of fun to shop your own stash and to be surprised by what you've been saving for so long for no apparent reason. I will say I had one really bad moment in Costco because I went through the book section and it just hurt my heart. It really did, to not be able to buy any of the new like DK student encyclopedias and science books and things like that that they had out there. I normally never go through the book section at Costco without picking up at least 1 or 2 items, and it was just my normal habit, you know, pick up salmon, pick up bananas, pick up book, go on. And to walk out of the Costco that day without having bought any of the 3 or 4 books that I really loved in there, made me feel kind of gross, honestly. I would love to tell you that I walked out of there and felt empowered and like strong and like I'm gonna do this no-buy year and all this, but I didn't. I felt slightly ill, and it reminded me of what an addict must feel like when they forego whatever the source of their addiction is, where it's not pleasant to not indulge, you know, and my brain definitely was primed and ready for that little reward. Like, you have gone to Costco, you have done all the boring shopping, you got the tuna and the this and the that, and now you get a book. Except I didn't reward my brain, and the whole drive home I just felt ill, and I felt like, honestly, I mean, Costco shopping's not fun, even on the least busy Costco day. And I thought a whole lot of thoughts like, I don't even get that reward. I don't even get to have a book. I mean, is life worth living? And I had all of those angsty feelings, and I talked to a couple of my good friends about it, and luckily I have told some of my good friends about my no-buy year, and that was such a boon because they affirmed that what I was feeling made a lot of sense, that it was normal. They told me they were proud of me. I know it sounds really silly, but just having that support system really helps. We are in the circumstances where there is no financial reason for me to limit our purchases. So without sort of an external voice of approval, like a little seal of friendly like support, it could be really hard for me to sustain this for the entire year because I don't have an obvious repercussion from purchasing excessively. I did have the reward of seeing our lowered bills, which was nice, but having friendly support meant more than that to me, if that makes sense. So if you guys are starting a no-buy year or no-buy week or no-buy month or what have you, I really advise that you tell at least one good friend so that you can call them when you need a sponsor, like, I'm looking at something I really want, tell me why I shouldn't get it. Or whether you want to just tell them, you know, like, I didn't buy anything at what have you store and I feel terrible about it. Like, help me out. I feel terrible about it, and I feel kind of gross that I feel terrible about it too. You know, it's like a double whammy. But my friends really were there for me. Girls, you know who you are because I know you'll probably watch this video at some point. And I just really appreciate you. And it's really motivating for me to know that other people are supporting me on this journey. So that being said, what were my big wins? Like, I think my big wins were taking away all of my shopping apps from my phone. Amazon, curiously enough, has not been appealing to me at all now that it's not on my phone. Because I'm just like, well, I'd have to go on the computer for it. Who has time for that? Etsy, eBay, same thing. I just don't have the patience to sit down at a laptop and do that. It was much more of a boredom-induced thing while I was lying down in bed or in line somewhere or like just sort of hanging around and waiting for something else to happen. Pro tip, take all the shopping apps off your phone. Get a sponsor. And, you know, be kind to yourself always, like I did with the sari skirts. Try to see the positive side of that. For me, it was seeing that I was purchasing from a company that does a lot to help out other people in need. And that way sort of assuaged a little bit of my guilt about failing so rapidly at my no-buy year. And all in all, though, I think that these first 6 weeks or so have been a great success. I have spent thousands of dollars less than I normally would have. And that's a little embarrassing to say, but that's the truth. I really have. I haven't bought anything but one book from a thrift store, which is an extraordinary achievement, let's be honest. And although I did purchase some clothing, I hope to get back on the bandwagon and not purchase any clothing whatsoever for the rest of 2019. If you guys are doing a no-buy year or month or week or what have you, I wish you the very best of luck on that. I would love to hear in the comments down below some of the tips and tricks that you found really motivate you and have helped you stick the course on this journey. If you are interested in books about the no-buy year, I recently read on Audible The Year of Less by Kate Flanders, I believe, and I'll do a short review video on that. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see that. And as always, you guys, I so appreciate your time. Thanks for sticking it out with me, and I wish you the very best day.